Janelle Meghan, welcome so much to So Zoom In. I'm so excited to have you on my show. Thank you. You are in New York, right? Are you
Yeah,
back east? Okay. All
yeah.
right. That's so awesome. First of all, I think you are an incredibly beautiful and talented actress, and I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm
And
so excited that you asked me. I'm so thrilled. So
oh,
thank
you are
you.
so awesome. And when I found out you did a film with David Chai, I thought, oh my God, what a small world this is, because he's such a great guy, and to have that common friend,
No,
out of
definitely.
nowhere is kind
I
of
feel
cool.
like the film community is like such a small world in so many ways.
Well, first of all, how was that film? That was earlier this year, right?
Yes, so
Blessed, was it?
we shot, it was a 2-day shoot. We shot one day last year, and then we actually wrapped like kind of really close to right before the pandemic and everything had happened, like early in the year, like early February. We kind of wrapped everything
Wow.
up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so what has it been like with COVID? Because you're the type of actress who works all the time. So,
Yeah, it's been interesting because I do feel like this time for everybody has kind of like make us all like take a step back and really reflect and be like, what what kind of art do we really want to make? What kind of stuff projects do we really want to do? And I feel like that was a lot of this year of like kind of like thinking about that, doing some soul searching, for lack of a better word. That's been a lot of this year for me
well,
personally.
you've still been keeping really busy though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just like nonstop. What are a couple of things, or what is the main thing that you're working on right now that just is really inspiring to you?
So the main thing that I'm working on right now, I actually have a new podcast where I interview different types of creatives. So everything from filmmakers to playwrights to, video game designers, just anybody who's in the storytelling creative industry. We bring them on and we talk about what drives them to create. So that's been a really interesting thing, kind of like starting those conversations. And then
Right.
I also, I got involved with you doing most recently the Imagine This Film Festival, which your amazing, absolutely amazing screen play got in. And I did a live reading for that, which was so much fun. Oh my God, I'm
You
so
were
glad.
awesome. You were just so amazing. No, I really appreciate you doing that too. And you were really cool to do another table read for me, which I
Yeah.
actually have from a producer right now. And so
Oh,
because of COVID, it's like all these hoops and obstacles we're all jumping through. But
well, also
and
like people more than ever are like so much like like I feel like you and I kind of connected this year more than ever, mostly through doing different read-throughs and things like that because of like everyone's stuck at home and everyone just wants to
right.
create and do things. So I feel like that's what's a lot that's happening right now.
Well, it's so great too because we actually connected on social media.
Yeah.
And so many people who kind of like poo-poo social media, it's like, hey, you're missing out because you can meet some great people. And I remember, yeah, and it was just so great that, when I put out a call for something, you stepped up and you were just like, boom, yeah, and you were so talented. And I'm
Oh,
like,
thank
oh my
you.
God. So
No,
thank
and
you for
oh my
that.
God, but as soon as I read the first script, I mean, both of your scripts are amazing.
Oh,
And the
thank
first
you.
one that you sent me, though, I was like, oh my God, this person has talent. I want to continue working with them and getting to know them. And there's such a light as well. Like your
Oh,
energy,
thanks.
I feel like that's really important to me with people that I work with, is that they're a positive energy and that they're doing things and they're hustling and like you're
Oh.
totally there. So
Well, you worked with David, so I know you're awesome.
exactly,
So,
exactly. David is, oh my God, he's amazing. He's amazing.
yeah.
He's such a director's actor in that he really loves diving deep in the story. And the work I did with him it was incredible.
Right. Well, okay. How do you like doing short films as opposed to like features? Because yeah, I know there's like a huge difference, but as an actor, what do you think?
It's interesting because I feel like in features, I do get more time to really dive into the character. And I feel like
Mm,
sometimes I'm doing a short, I've only like kind of just scratched the surface of what this could
right.
be. And I find myself even on set being like, oh, well, in the sequel, this could happen. Like I get excited about these new ideas. In a feature, it's kind of a little bit more of
Mm,
that wrapped up feeling.
mm,
Of like I can kind of close that chapter and feel satisfied. Whereas with shorts, I'm always like, oh, I wish I had more. I wish I knew more. So that's
right.
probably the differences for me.
Well, do you go to the film festivals when these shorts are in the festivals? Is that
Yeah,
something that? Okay.
I try to. I mean, like these times it's a little difficult.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of stuff is virtual. I mean, Blessed, the film I did with David Chai, that was a virtual film festival. And then another film I was in, Meat Hook in the Mountains, was in that as well. The Life, I think it's called the Life Film Festival, or Life Film Expo rather. And that was all virtual. I think they might have done a drive-in screening as well, but I don't drive, being in New York City.
Right.
So
You don't need to. Yeah.
you know, it's a little frustrating because I wish I could be there meeting people and stuff like that.
Right.
But you know, you and I connect on social media. So much things happen through social media, through just getting your work out there and talking to people and being open to that. So I think it's like, I miss those days of going, but you can also have an impact, you know, just at home even.
Well, yeah. Well, and these, you're keeping yourself busy, and you are keeping a really positive attitude, and you are just like really putting yourself out there. And I think that sometimes that's the hardest thing as an actor, is to really just be willing to say, yeah, I'll do it, you know, instead of, you know, overthinking something or being worried about something, you know. And you have such a great range too. Okay, what is your favorite kind of role for you to play?
Oh, that's so hard. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for women in film and really complex female characters that you know, are often more than what meets the surface. So those are my favorite type of characters to dive into and play, is someone who maybe on the surface seems like the ditzy blonde, but really is the one that's the killer in the end. Like that type of duality is really, really what I look for in certain roles.
Now, you've been called Dollface for the dark side.
Yes.
Right. Okay. That sounds so awesome. That actually sounds like a name of a movie. How did that come about? What happened?
I feel like I was just really kind of sick of getting cast as like the good girl and like that type of thing. And I wanted to put out there that I like dark comedy. I like things with a little edge and a little grit. So I just wanted to say, like, I might have a doll face, but there is a dark side. And I do think, and you know, in general, there's a dark side in all of us. And I think acting and storytelling kind of allows us all to explore that.
Well, this is true. It does, you know, to dive in and get the conflict going. Now, have you've written yourself? Is that something that you've done for yourself as an actor?
I've collaborated on writing. Meat Hook in the Mountains. The way that came about is I had an idea for like Parks and Rec if it were on a horror movie set. So I wanted to do something in the comedy realm, and I came up with like, because all the architects of comedy and Parks and Rec and kind of like that genre really mirrored, you know, what happens on a set. You have the boss could easily then turn into the crazy director. And I kind of came up with that concept and pitched it to a good friend of mine, and really talented director and writer, Ryan Reed, and he just went gangbusters with it. And he really, you know, it's definitely his writing for sure, but I think I'm more on the collaborative, like, I like to be an ideas person and then kind of bring it to a really talented screenwriter who can really make magic happen.
Oh, great. Now, so any of these shorts, can people see them anywhere? Like, are they streaming anywhere, or?
So none of the shorts are currently, because we're just still doing the festival circuit, even though it's online. But I do have a film on Amazon Prime. It's The Outbreak. It was an incredible film. Basically, I played this character, Mandy, who had a one-night stand and then wakes up the next morning, and it's basically an apocalypse, and there's zombies everywhere. And she kind of has to deal with, you know, being with this person she just met and doesn't really want to be around anymore, and having like an outbreak. So it's a little bit of a comedy. It has some dramatic moments. It's a really great film, and it follows two other love stories as well, as they fall apart or fall together.
Oh, how fun. So that's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Okay, Outbreak on Amazon.
The Outbreak.
Okay. All right, that sounds like a lot of fun. How long were you shooting for that?
I think that was about like a 3-day shoot. Yeah, so we kind of shot like over the weekend, and it was one location, but it was a lot of fun. It was one of the first films I did when I first moved to New York City, so it has like a really special place in my heart for that.
It sounds like fun when you have like these shorts where you go in for like 2-3 days and you put in all this energy and boom, 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 and you just like create this whole world in such a short amount of time. I can just only imagine the adrenaline rush doing that.
No, absolutely. I feel like it's a lot of, you're constantly like, sometimes you can't even think because you're just going from scene to scene to scene, and they're all out of order, and you're just having to know your character, know where you are in the script, and just like roll with it. But I really thrive in those environments. Like, I like fast paced, I like things to be happening, and if they're not happening, I make them happen. So, that type of filmmaking set totally works for me.
So when did you decide you wanted to be an actress? When was that burning urge inside you just saying, I have to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this since I was like a kid. Like, I grew up in the Poconos, and there's a lot of plays, and I was very much involved in the theater community there. And I've always loved it. But I think the minute that I really decided is when I moved to New York City, and I was working in PR, and my boss at the time came in, and she was kind of very much like, when I first moved to the city, I wanted to act and model and do all these things, but then I got smart, and then I decided to really focus on my career. And she kind of mapped my whole life out for me. She's like, you can make partner at this age, you can do this. And I remember like sitting in the chair being like, oh no, I don't want any of this. This sounds terrible. Having like a full-on existential crisis, and leaving that conversation so sure that this was not what I wanted, and then I got to figure out what actually makes me happy. And I kind of went back and really decided and was like, no, acting has always been the answer. It's always what I've gone back to. I've done it when I was a little kid. I did it in college because I went to an art school. So, I would meet friends with like filmmakers and things like that. I was constantly doing it. I just wasn't focusing on it. So when I moved to New York City and like, had the chance to, I guess, give it up, and I couldn't, that was when I feel like I really chose it for myself.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so exciting because you consciously chose to follow your dreams. So that means great things are going to happen. Great things are happening, even though we had this whole pandemic thing. I have to tell you, okay, when you guys did the read for me for the film festival, you and Shannon, because she read the other female role, you two had such a great chemistry, even though you guys have never met. Yeah. You guys inspired me to write a feature.
Oh, awesome.
Just the two of you. And it was so crazy just because, it's so funny when people come together and they don't know each other, but you just have that energy, and, you're putting stuff out there, and you're manifesting, and you guys just have like, just really good vibes. And so yeah, I wrote it in a month, and I was like really excited. Because I toyed with the idea because when I first saw you guys together, I knew I had to do something because I really wanted to see you in like two strong female empowered roles, but not something outrageous or big, but just something where it's like intimate, but people can relate to, and so I came up with the title is called Juju. And you two are sisters, and I'm like, I can't wait for you guys to read it because I'm like,
oh my god,
I'm so excited. But and it's like, but you know martial arts. You're very physical, right? I think I saw pictures of you.
Not martial arts, more so like kickboxing and boxing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you can move like that, you can definitely get. But the idea is that they're both black belts. They grew up with a father who's a black belt.
That's so
but you guys inspired it. So when I saw you just, and I know the story wasn't about you guys, but just the chemistry you guys had just from hearing you read and being online.
Definitely.
I'm like so excited. I can't wait to show it to you guys because I was thinking, oh my god.
I'm like thrillilled. That touches my heart. Like that sounds amazing. And I feel like what you do really well as a screenwriter from the scripts that I've read from you is that empowerment for sure, without pushing on it, with it just being this strong female character with a heart, and but also that has a lot of gusto that like I love, and it's so truthful, your writing. So I cannot
thank you.
I cannot wait to read it.
Well, because I was thinking you two would make really great sisters.
Awesome. No. Oh my god. I don't know Shannon, but I mean,
I know
her amazing. She does have great energy, and I love her little attitude. Like, so good. So,
and you two work so well. I mean, and just from a read, and I'm already casting you. I'm already seeing it happen.
Oh,
but it's funny because you're right. During this downtime, it's really time where you have to figure out, how am I going to be creative? How am I going to make things happen? And I'm just so grateful in a way that this has happened, because I got to meet you and so many other people that I know I wouldn't have met otherwise. just from like putting that out there.
Yeah.
And I think, you just stepped up and said, "Hey, I'll do it." And I'm like, yes, that's the type of person, I want in my circles, people who are going to say yes, and let's do it.
Yeah, when people who are doing things and like the momentum, like I feel like that's so important. Like the momentum is like everything in this industry. Like once you start doing things and meeting people, like everything kind of snowballs from there. And I'm sure you've experienced it as well.
Oh, exactly. But I just, so I think you're awesome, and I will send you the script when, it's more than, it's a clean first draft, so, I mean, it goes through a process and stuff, but I'd love to get you together and read it, and I think, I think there'll be stuff that you guys will, really,
I am so touched and I'm so excited. So I would be thrilled to do that.
Well, thank you very much. And I'm just so excited to, here you are across the country, and, we're able to connect, and, we've never actually met in person, but I feel like, oh yeah, it's like, come on, Janelle, let's make a movie. Let's go.
Yeah. By the time we meet in person, we're going to be old friends.
Right?
But and LA is so nice. Like, that's where you are in LA, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Los Angeles.
It's so beautiful there. So, if anything, I should go there.
Well, are you guys having a heat wave right now, or in New York?
A little bit of a heat wave. Yeah, it's a little warm, but not too bad. I know you guys are like in the hundreds or something like that the past week, right?
Yeah, last week was really hot. It was pretty brutal.
But I mean, I know brutal is one thing, but like I like the hot. Like I prefer to be warm. As soon as it gets cold here, I probably will want to be in LA.
So wait, you get snow in New York? Yeah, it snows a lot in New York. How long have you been there now?
I've been in New York for like 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but I grew up in the Poconos, like in the mountains. So like I'm used to huge snowstorms. You would think I would like it, but you always want the opposite.
Right, that's true. But at least you know how to deal with snow.
Definitely.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. They freak. So, what's the name of your podcast that you're doing?
It's called Cause and Creation.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, it's me and my I'm the co-host, and my friend Megan's the host, Megan Martin. And we talk to different guests in the industry about the projects that they're making and what drives them as creatives.
And do you find a lot of different types of answers, or do you generally find like an underlying theme?
Yeah. What's really happened with the conversations is they really go deep. I feel like creatives in general, I feel like we're so emotional and we're so in touch with so many different sides of ourselves that the conversations very easily lead to some deep places. So like our first episode, we're talking about like philosophy, and then our next conversation we're talking about mental health and different social movements, and like so the conversations really, really vary, which I kind of like because I like deep combos.
Oh wow, that's great. All right, has politics come up? Because it seems to be a very hot year for that.
I know, it's a hot year for it. It really hasn't, and like not that we're shying away from that, but we definitely don't want it to become like a biased or political podcast in any sort of way. We kind of want to focus on like the art, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, and so we haven't really touched on that. Not that we're shying away from it, but it hasn't really brought comment that much.
Oh, well, that's good, because it is about the arts.
Eliminate from the conversation completely, but like I also am a firm believer that's just like I try to avoid the news, especially this year, as much as possible. It's just it gets exhausting, and like sometimes art can be an escape and needs to be an escape. And if people are listening to the podcast to tune out the news, then I think it's like, why should I bring that in the conversation if maybe they're using it as a little bit of an escape, which I think is totally normal.
Well, yeah, you're right. I know I haven't listened to the news recently either.
Yeah, I don't.
It's all going to be work. Everything will work out fine. It has. It always will. And
that's exactly how I believe. 100%. The world keeps turning.
Well, okay. So New York is this bustling art city. Everything. I always thought of New York as everything art. I mean, looking at the buildings and even just the people. I mean, just like a huge hodgepodge of like this artistic
Yeah.
creativity. So because of COVID, what kind of shift have you seen, being there? I mean, because you're still relatively new there, 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like museums are closed. A
Museums
lot.
are actually back open.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I was actually just at a museum this past weekend. Yeah, I went to the Cloisters, which is like a medieval art museum.
Oh,
It's
wow.
beautiful. It's half
Uh,
like, in the Bronx, out indoors, and it's a beautiful garden. So yeah, museums are open. I mean, like when at the height of it, everything was closed, and it was really
Right.
sad. But I feel like the biggest thing that I've noticed from New York is, and just I guess everywhere in general, I'm sure you can say the same thing about LA, is how resilient people are and how creative people are
Mm-hmm.
in kind of not getting around the rules, but in making it work for themselves. So, you have comedians doing shows in the park,
Mm-hmm.
social distanced outdoors, but, they're
Mm-hmm.
doing their set and they're doing their thing. You have, piano bars where, Broadway actors are getting their experience of performing, it's a lot of that. It's a lot of people, who are still here and who are still wanting to create and find ways to connect with people through their art. They're making it work. And I think there's something really inspiring about that.
Oh, that's so awesome. I mean, you can't make that energy go away,
Yeah.
right? No matter what. So how exciting to just find new avenues of, letting
That's
it.
a great way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just new avenues. It's like things
Mm.
haven't, everyone's like, New York is dead. It's terrible now, all this stuff. It's just on a new avenue.
Right? Well, there are too many people in New York for it to ever be dead. Too much
Exactly.
creativity.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if people are leaving New York right now, great, leave so that I can get into the restaurants quicker and get into the museums quicker, because right now it's still as busy as ever. So
So wait, so subways are going now, right? I mean, are
yeah,
you?
subways are going. Yeah, I don't take it that often, but I have been taking it like occasionally now.
Okay. All right. And so masks, everyone wears masks.
Yeah, everyone's
Okay.
really good with the masks.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone has
Mm-hmm.
been really, really good for the most part, I think, in New York with, taking it very seriously, but also still being like life goes on.
Oh, good. And being like themselves as much as they can be.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Finding
Oh,
ways to
good.
be themselves. Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
And
good.
yeah,
Good.
no, I really,
Yeah.
I really do.
Well, because we might be in this for another 2 years. I mean, you look at the Spanish flu in the early 1900s that went on for 3 years, and there are
Yeah,
like so many more people than there were then. So who really knows? But you're right, to just be open to.
just go with the
Right.
flow. I'm very much the type of person. Like you can't resist change. You can't resist anything. You can only find a way around it, or
Right.
through it. That's it.
Right. And just see how it can work for you without,
Exactly.
like without it bring you down. Yeah. You still
Yeah,
got to be you. You
exactly.
still have to, we still need to make movies.
Yeah,
Right.
100%. Yeah, we're still
Right.
gonna be making movies.
Right. Still gonna. Well, okay. So, a lot of movie theaters have been closing down. I've just heard a rumor that Regent Theaters is one of them, and that AMC theaters might be next. And
Mhm.
just because people aren't going to the movies, and the thought of never going to a movie theater again is something I don't even want to think about. But if something like that were to happen because of this, an ongoing pandemic, I don't think studios are going to give up. I think they're still going to make movies one way or another and just kind of come up with a new way of doing it. But do you think this kind of gives, the more unknown actor an opportunity to like really rise up, through streaming or through other means?
I mean, yes and no. Okay, so I'll first to touch on your first point about the movie theaters. One thing that I've heard, I can't remember where I heard this, but there's talks of like Amazon Prime possibly purchasing them, or Netflix or one of the streaming sites like purchasing the movie theaters and like using that for some big premieres and things like that in the future, which I think is a very real interesting possibility. And then also for getting new artists to kind of get a platform, I think it's definitely easier more than ever to create content and get your voice out there, and I think that's amazing, but it's also really oversaturated as well. So like I know a few years ago it was always like, that's the way to stand out, make a web series, do all this, but now there's so much of it that I can't, and I'm not like, I'm never a negative person, but I also can't with good conscience say that like I can fully agree that like that's the way to go, I think, nowadays, just because there's so much out there, you know? So if you're making something, don't make it because you think it's going to get seen by millions of people. Make it because you want to make it, and then it'll get seen by the right people. That's always been, I think, the way to go.
I agree with that completely. Yeah, just and do it because you really want to, not because you feel like you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine how life would be so different if you lived it the way you wanted to, so the way you had to?
I know. There's an interesting quote. I forget who said it, but it's like, what would you do if, you know, nothing, like you weren't seen by anybody, you know, like for your entire life, like no one would know what you would do, and what would you explore? What things would you, you know, decide within yourself that was important versus what you would decide is important now, you know?
So, all right. So what would you decide if you had carte blanche?
Interesting. I'd probably do a lot more writing. Because I don't really make time for that right now. A lot of my focus is on auditioning and, you know, all the film, like very visual. But if nothing's visual and nothing can be seen, then I would write. I would write books, and I would focus a lot on that medium, I think.
Okay, books, not scripts. You wouldn't like write something for yourself, a vehicle for yourself, or
I don't think I'd write a script for fun. I'll be honest with you.
Okay, all right, yeah. All right,
I think I would do a lot more like, like maybe poems and like short stories, and like I used to blog a lot years ago, and I do it still on my Instagram too, a lot of stream of consciousness stuff, just about different things, and I think I would write a book around something like that if I had the time and nothing else was existing.
Well, yeah, how is auditioning going on in New York right now? What is that like?
It's all I have not gone in person since, gosh, I think probably since like January, honestly, January or February. It's all online, and I have, you know, I have my backdrop, I have my ring light, I have my little self-tape setup, and I just kind of do it at home. Which honestly I prefer in a way, because you have a lot more control over, you know, what happens, and you know, the environment that you're in, and you're not waiting in line forever to go in and getting in your own head. It's just like, if it's a live Zoom audition, you go, you do your Zoom audition, you don't have to wait usually. And then if it's a self-tape, you just have complete control, and you can choose the take that you think is the best. And you even choose 2 takes, you know, there's a lot more freedom, I think, for the actor nowadays.
That's kind of nice. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, you're not in a room. First of all, you have to deal with traffic getting there.
For the subway, you know, learning your lines on the subway, like no.
Getting stuck in the rain, or
yes.
I was like,
oh my god, wow. How many times I've like in like pre-COVID days, sometimes I've had to like change in a public restroom to go from like one audition to another. Like the crazy things, I think, you know, sometimes that we do that, you know, it's not good for going in the room with all of that extra energy.
Right. So how does it work with callbacks? Is it also on Zoom too?
It's also on Zoom. A lot of the times I feel like it's a little bit of a communication first, where they'll give the notes after I send the self-tape, and then I tape again. And then if otherwise, then it'll be a live Zoom audition.
Okay. All right, cool. How about voiceover? Do you do voiceover also?
I did one voiceover project recently. I was working with this company that they do some sketch comedy stuff, and they really liked my voice and liked my energy, and they asked me if I wanted to be a part of their audio drama. So it's not out yet, but it was a really fun experience. It's called Supervillain, and it's basically about the daughter of 2 supervillains and kind of what that does to her growing up in that environment, and kind of the pressure of being the daughter of like the 2 most evil people. So there's some comedy, there's some superhero tropes if you're into that kind of thing. Like people that are like comic books, I think will really appreciate it, because it really turns a lot of the tropes on its head. And it was a really interesting experience. And I think it was one of the first projects that I did like in the start of everything happening and things shutting down, when I was like kind of losing my mind a little bit of like what's going to happen, you know. I think we all had that first feeling. And it was the first time that like I got to do an acting project. And even though it's just my voice, it was just such a freeing experience. It was such an amazing experience to like get to be back home in a weird way and like be like, okay, even if this lasts forever, I still have this and I'm gonna be okay.
So would you want to do more voiceover work? Is that something that you'd really like to get more into? Well, especially since I heard more animation stuff is coming up because of the pandemic, that people are doing more of that. Or are you just open to?
I think I would definitely want to do more like audio drama or audio production stuff. I can't really see myself doing animation. I'm not really like a voices type of person. I feel like that's such a specific talent. Like people I could do like a million accents and a million different voices. That's not really me. But I mean, I like to do things that I like any type of storytelling and a good story. So it doesn't really matter the medium to me. I'm totally.
So you're right, because everything's about the story. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, I love that. You're so awesome, Janelle. You're just so cool.
Thank you.
I just want to say, hey, let's make a movie now. But it's like it's gonna happen. It's happening. It's all just it takes.
I'm manifesting it. It'll happen when the timing's right.
Right, and it's getting there. And I think early next year is going to be a lot more things in production. I just have this feeling things are really gonna. Because we're coming up upon the holidays soon, and and so so I think early next year, I think people really start getting back into the groove. Some people, they just want to get back to it.
Yeah, a lot of things are happening now for sure, and will continue to happen. I think well into maybe November, and then things will probably shut down for a little while until January, February, like maybe a resurgence of pilot season.
Right. Now you're open to traveling, right? I mean, Atlanta, a lot's going on in Atlanta and different parts, even Florida, I understand. I've a lot of the stuff I actually auditioned for lately has been in LA and Atlanta. So definitely. Okay. So how did you end up in New York?
Well, my family is in the Poconos, and I do want to be close to my mom. And I love New York. I just absolutely love it. I love the energy here. I love the people. I love the fact that I don't have to drive. Yeah. Like there's so many things I love about this city. So yeah, I mean, I know eventually I might end up in LA eventually, but I'm not going to force it to happen when it happens.
Right. Yeah.
Here. And I could just hop on a plane and film anywhere.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, and just being happy, that's fantastic. That shifts so much. So it's so awesome. Well, okay. I'm a huge fan of yours, and like I said, you've inspired me in writing, so I can't wait to share it with you. And
thank you so much.
But I think that as an actor, that's kind of like what you do for writers. It's like you're like this palette. It's like
Interesting. I like the way you put that though. That is interesting because it's like actors are a tool for. Actors are a tool for a writer in a way, and inspiration and kind of like a form of clay that you guys can just play with and draw things from, that's such a cool collaboration aspect. I mean, I love that.
Yeah. So anyway, we will definitely be working together. When exactly, I don't know, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I can't.
Well, thank you so much, Janelle. Thank you for your time, and I just think you're amazing. Okay, give me the name of your podcast one more time.
Cause and Creation.
And people can find causeandcreation.com. Okay.
Cause and Creation. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes. And it's on the All Ports Network if you wanted to check out the website as well. Okay,
and you're on social media, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes. All of my social media is at Janelle Meghan, Meghan.
Okay, great. All right, so people follow Janelle Meghan. All right, she is a happening actress. She's up and coming, and all kinds of amazing things are happening for you. And I'm just so excited that I had a chance to get to know you and work with you, and I look forward to even working with you in person and making a movie. So yes. Okay, so are you working on anything over the holidays? Have you thought about the holiday time that you might be working on anything? Or
I haven't really thought about it much, to be honest with you. I'm kind of really in this place where I'm just wanting to go with the flow, I guess, because of how things are with with this weird time that we're in, like if I book something, amazing. I will fly wherever and work if I need to, but I'm not going to force a project to happen at this time. If something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, I'm very much in that headspace right now, I feel like.
Well, that's the best attitude to have, you know, and just, and that's when things come and that's when things happen.
Definitely. I'm ready to receive. I'm ready. I'm open.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Then you're SAG, right? You're a SAG actress?
No, I'm actually non-union.
Oh my God. You know how much work you can be doing as a non-union actor right now? Okay.
I know. There's a lot of opportunities out there. But I'm also being very picky. I've had some kind of sketchy situation, especially with, you know, the pandemic, and I don't want to go on a set that's not safe. So, you know, there has been even cases where I've booked things this year that I've had to turn down because they didn't really have their stuff together, and I didn't feel safe. So that is the disadvantage of being non-union. It's great that everything's open to me, but also some of the stuff that's open to me is a little sketch.
All right. Well, no, you're not going to be non-union for long. You know, I see things happening for you really fast.
Thanks.
You know, so and you are so incredibly talented. You're just a really talented actor. You know, so it's a pleasure seeing you on screen, and you know, and just from the time we've worked together, you know, you're just so great to work with. You know, so I see great things happening for you, and you know, I hope you know we can have at least one project going together. You know, but yeah, I see great things. So.
Thank you. That means the world to me, and I feel the same about you. I think you're so talented, and all your scripts have such beautiful heart, and you have an amazing energy and hustle to you, and I love that. So
let's make some movies. All right, we're gonna make some movies. Yes. All right. So you know we will get it together, and you know, because it takes a process, but you know we're putting it out there.
We're going with the flow. There's no rush, but we're gonna make it happen.
Yes, definitely. All right. Well, I will keep an ear out for your podcast, and I think it's great you're doing it. And stay safe, and keep acting, and we're gonna work together. 2021. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, 2021. That's it.
Right. Absolutely. We will. You know, this is a great training ground here. Right?
Yeah. We're on our way.
And you are very talented, and I just really see you constantly growing and evolving as an actor, and just so yeah, I'm excited to see you grow and do and have fun. And
I'm excited for both of us for 2021. I think it's going to be a huge year for both of us, and I think the rest of this year is going to be big too. You know, because I don't put limitations on things. So.
Right. You never know, and it's all going to be good. It's all going to be good.
Absolutely.
All right. Cool. All right, I will let you go. Thank you so much for your time. And
I'm so excited, and thank you again for asking me. It was such a pleasure to chat with you.
So, okay, we're gonna be working together. So, all right. Well, you take care. I will take good care, and I will talk to you really soon. All right. Mwah. All right. Bye.